Darren, before we launch into the Age of Empires online review, could you please give the viewers a brief history of the Age franchise?
The first Age of Empires game was released for PC in 1997. Altogether, there have been 10 titles associated with the series. All the games are history-based real-time strategy games. They are celebrated for their challenging and balanced gameplay and interesting historical settings. Does that suffice?
Perfect. I'm sure many spawnlings would be familiar with the old games, real-time strategy at its best. But Age of Empires Online offers something new: role-playing. So it's a massively multiplayer online real-time strategy role-playing game.
An MMO RTS RPG.
And it's free to play. Well, most of it is. You will also need to download the Games for Windows software, which can be a bit tricky to get working. So all in all, it took me maybe half an hour, 45 minutes, and then I was into the game.
You can choose to play as either the Greeks or the Egyptians. You name your starting city, and from there you'll be sent on quests to gain experience points to level up your civilization. You'll also earn coins, which can be spent on equipment, and empire points, which can be spent on unlocking new crafting recipes for use in your capital city. Now, I have the premium paid version of the game, but you played the free stuff, didn't you, Bajo? How was that?
Good. You certainly get enough out of the game to get the full experience. And also, it doesn't keep popping up with menus asking you for money all the time. Well, not much. Pretty quickly, I received quest rewards I couldn't use, though, and some blueprints for buildings I couldn't actually build, but you can sell them. Overall, though, I didn't feel overly disadvantaged. This is one of the most fleshed out free-to-play games I've ever played.
Around the maps, there are little chests to collect, but you'll have to defeat their chest defenders to take them. It's best to leave that until you've completed the mission in single player, so you don't have to worry about losing units. Each time you finish a quest complete banner will appear and a sound will play.
Yes, that sound gives you a feeling of accomplishment, and it makes you want to keep on playing, and that's a common technique used in games.
The role-playing side of things happens in your starting city, where you can construct buildings, buy and sell gear and materials, spend experience points, and talk to various quest givers. You then use your world map to travel to the quest locations where the real-time strategy gaming happens. How did you find the RTS side of things?
Oh, it's great. It just feels like an Age of Empires game. The key to success is to build a thriving economy so you can build up your army and then level through the ages.
The quest will send you out on missions like saving some hostages, mining for a certain resource in a certain time, obliterating an enemy. I like them. I thought those early quests did a really good job of teaching you the fundamentals of good RTS play.
I thought they were a tad noobish, especially early on.
Well, you should have toggled on Elite mode. It makes things tricky and it's available on every quest.
True, Darren. RTS staples like waypoints, hotkeys, and the ability to group units and even buildings are in the game, which makes me hopeful that there are going to be some really challenging strategic battles ahead. You can do some quests co-op with a friend, and you can also play player versus player on random maps, which is just like old Age of Empires. And this is where core RTS gamers will have the most fun. The gear you've collected and the technology tree unlocks you've chosen carry across to PvP, so there's going to be interesting times ahead as players develop the best strategies and build orders. What did you think of the role-playing side of things, Hex?
Well, I was a little bit disappointed with this, to be honest. I mean, I love a good RPG, and I thought it was interesting to include those elements, but I don't know, it all just seemed a bit confusing.
Well, it's to make it so that every gamer can develop their own way of playing.
Yeah, but it's a bit needlessly complicated, isn't it? For example, you have to buy a blueprint for a school so that you can then buy blueprints for equipment that you're not sure you really need anyway. And you can only have 2 of them. And then you have advisors, but you can only have 1 of them per age. Ugh.
I do know what you mean. There's a lot of gear in this game. Every unit and building has multiple equipment slots, but only paying players will be able to use the rare and epic gear.
You know, I'm perfectly willing to accept that I may not have a grasp of the full potential of the trading and crafting side of things, and as we know from other MMOs, it can sustain the life of the online game.
You need to put in more hours, Hex.
Yeah, true that. I'm only level 13, so there's plenty more game to discover.
Well, what's your feeling so far?
I'm impressed. You know, it really reminded me of that cartoon Asterisk. I think it was also a comic, and the character animations are just great.
What is that?
That's my impression of a villager. That's how they run.
Oh, it's very good, Buck.
Coincidentally, it's also how I run.
Right. Okay, well, I think if you like RTS or have never played RTS and think you might want to give it a go, then this is definitely worth a download. I do think the RPG side of things could have been helped by having a physical representation of your character to run around your city with rather than just being a disembodied cursor. But there is a lot of game for play, so I'm definitely going back for more. I'm giving it 8.5 out of 10 rubber chickens.
I forgot how much fun it was commandeering cows and using them as scouts. I think they've done a good job of making an Age of Empires game whilst bringing in something new. The real test is going to be is if over time it has that level of complexity and strategy, and most importantly balance that core RTS gamers want and need and thrive on. So only time will tell. I'm going to give it 8.5 out of 10 rubber chickens as well.
Could you do that run again?
No,
I don't
you made
think
fun of me.
You should do that at all.
No, it's really good. I want to... Oh, we've hurt his feelings.